Okay, so the New York Times reporter interviewed the Secretary General of NATO and tried to kind of rage bait him, but it did not give in. Let's watch this.
Listening to you talk, I am hearing you articulate the feeling that you clearly strongly have that Trump is handling America's role in the world very well, and that you don't have any concerns about his relationship with NATO. What do you think the president's critics don't understand about him and the way he views America's role in the world?
I'm a transatlanticist. I was born in a family which felt deeply indebted to the United States, together with Canada and Poland, liberating my part of Europe, the Netherlands. I've always been raised with the absolute realization that without a transatlantic relationship, which keeps the US strong, which keeps Europe strong, we might have been communist in this part of Europe at this moment, and part of the Soviet Union instead of a part of the free world. President Trump, in my view, is totally committed to that tradition. Very irritated indeed about the somewhat free rider thing here in Europe, and that has now been corrected. And I find it a bit unfair that we are constantly questioning the US, are you still with us? And if you are still with us, are you really with us? Or might you maybe leave us one day?
To be fair, that's based on the president's own statements. This is not supposition, but please go on.
Well, what? Did she just... Oh my god, did she... Okay, so just to get what a headline, she just tried to correct the Secretary General of NATO? In what? Oh, because some bureaucrats, high-level bureaucrats of countries that don't pay enough for their own security militarily, and the US pays for them, and the US president now just says that you have to pay equal share, not even more. We will pay half and you pay half, just equal share. And they got upset over that. So, and it's also because of the president's mistake, because he said those lines, it just becomes the president's mistake. What in the world are these reporters, man? Oh my god, let's watch more of it.
Yeah, but when you, for example, what he said about Article 5 is ambiguous in itself, because we will never want to make Putin or Xi Jinping or whoever might ever try something against us wiser than he or she is at the moment. And look at this closing press conference in The Hague. I mean, it couldn't be clearer than this. Put on the television when President Macron is visiting the White House, when Prime Minister Starmer was visiting the White House, when Prime Minister Meloni was visiting the White House. Listen to President Trump's comments. You cannot have a clearer commitment to NATO than what he said on those occasions.
So you think NATO will last another 50 years with America at its heart?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have no doubt. America being the leader in the world and also within NATO, but with the Europeans taking their fair share in terms of the burden. And that's only good, and that makes that NATO is stronger and fairer and more lethal, exactly as we should be.
Here's what happened, at least in front of my eyes. I saw the Secretary General of NATO agreeing that other countries of NATO should pay for their own securities, at least a fair share that they are required to. And the US president saying the same thing. Donald Trump saying that, NATO have to pay, Europe have to pay their own fair share. Cool. But a New York Times reporter disagrees. They want to question you. For what? Just because they could just show Trump in some bad light. They'll do anything for that. Anyways, what you think of this, let me know. And what does that word transcendentalist, I think that's the word. What does that mean? Let me know. I didn't understand the word.